What's up, everyone? Staniel Smooth here. I wanted to show you guys a cool thing we're doing. This podcast is sponsored by Canada Dips, the newest lineup to the dip game, but in CBD form. The Canada Dips lineup features products made for every man's lifestyle. All tins are proudly crafted from the hills of Humboldt County in California. It's filled with flavor and will give you that good vibe that CBD brings to the room. So what are you waiting for? Use the promo code BELLYUP20 in all caps at CanadaDips.com for 20% off your next order. That's BELLYUP20 at CanadaDips.com.
Good morning, Vietnam!
It's time to BS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Welcome to episode 7 of the Staniel Smooth Show. I'm your host, the great and powerful Staniel Smooth, coming to you from the lovely beaches of Long Island, New York, part of the Belly Up Sports and Belly Up Media Networks, and I'll get into various reasons to why I'm annoyed in a matter of minutes. But I'm back from vacation. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to do this particular type of show. And I like doing this show. I like doing it on my own time, just on my own, and being able to get what's off my mind. And it helps. It helps for various different reasons. I don't have to work around other people's schedules in that regard, and I love doing podcasting as a whole because it's overall it's my me time. This here is my me time. We like me time. Me time is great, don't I? There you are. So I'm back home after a few days in North Carolina, and Charlotte was chilly, like really chilly, and it was nice. But aside from the fact that I was getting raging nasty headaches for majority of the time that we were in the hotel, it was, me and my fiance Megan, who we had to do Smoothly Baked again. It was a fun time, fun 3 episodes that we did that, and I want to be able to do Smoothly Baked more with her. Because it's fun. It's genuinely fun. So, what did we did, we didn't really do much. We went to this restaurant 3 times. Twice if you count twice in person. Once via Uber Eats. And it's called Nellie's Southern Kitchen. And for context, Megan's a huge Jonas Brothers fan. Like, we're talking super fan to a T. It's great. I love it. And gotta support your fiance's crazed addiction as she supports mine. She supports my gaming addiction. I support her Jonas Brothers addiction. Everyone wins. Everyone wins. So this restaurant was supposedly their great grandmother's recipes and shit, and it was it's a fucking southern style restaurant. It was cute. It was nice. It was, for some reason, there were lights in this place that had a distinct shape of cotton, and considering the fact we were in North Carolina, that is fucking hysterical. So fill in the blanks there, and the people were nice. Everyone was great. I've been contemplating the whole idea of moving down south for years now. And for multiple reasons, including the heat, I have decided to decline this continuous effort of trying to move down south because as much as I love the people, I love the food. It'll be too hot for what I do for a living. So we also went to a local aquarium up 20 minutes north of Charlotte in a town called Concord, New Hampshire. New Hampshire, North Carolina, close enough. And Concord, North Carolina, and there was an aquarium inside a mall. It was a cute aquarium. It wasn't like there wasn't a lot in there, but there was a shark tube in there, and that was cool as shit, and I liked that. Who the fuck is Snapchatting me? Oh, okay, nothing important. And I was very excited about that, and we went. The aquarium was my idea because we didn't want to make it just about a Megan vacation, but you know, a vacation's vacation. I don't want to make it sound like a dickhead statement here, but you know, we had fun. We genuinely had fun, and I would do it again if we had time. But you know, time is a bitch. So, with that being said, we have some AEW discussion that I want to get off my chest. Seahawks lose 3 in a row. The Islanders have a very up and down start, let's put it kindly, but the offense is rolling, and the defense so far is looking to be pretty good. So, the Islanders had a very shaky start for the first 2 games of the season. Lost in overtime at home to their home opener against the Utah Hockey Club. By the way, I want the Yeti sounds cool as shit. The Utah Yeti. That sounds cool. Just throwing that out there. And then they lost via shutout to the Dallas Stars. And aside from the shutout, there were a lot of positives about that game against the Stars. And the Isles were moving the puck around really well. It's just, other than a few mistakes, a few turnovers here and there, they played a relatively clean game. And then they destroyed the Colorado Avalanche 6-2. I want to get to Isles Twitter in a second, but you know what? Let's get into it. Hold that thought for a second. I just want to clip this real quick because make this easier for editing purposes. What is it about Isles Twitter that I can't what is it about social media as a whole with the Islanders that just makes me want to throw something? Isles Twitter is the epitome of I will never ever be satisfied. It's like the polyamorous relationship where they can't ever be satisfied by one person. They just need multiple fucking people, multiple ranges of dick, multiple ranges of coochie to satisfy their needs. And even then, it's still not enough. I find it hilarious. I kept tweeting this multiple times where it was like, 3 games into the Islanders season and the world is falling apart. Welcome back, hockey. I think it's hysterical that this fan base that is, granted, devoted as shit, and I love you guys. I do. I love you, Islanders Twitter. You are my peeps. But Jesus Christ, calm down. Jesus. Relax. I don't know what it is about you guys that is just, you lose one game and the world's falling to shit. I don't know what it is, guys. It's, you don't see a lot of other fan bases do that. Maybe Chicago for some reason. But the Blackhawks have an excuse. But that's just where I see these things. And, you know, they're not a bad team, the Islanders. They have some good pieces here and there. Some pieces that you question your belief system here and there. But that's okay. Because in the end, you know, it's hockey. It's a game. You know? It's a fucking game. Who am I to judge your, weird kinks and shit? Or weird obsessions with the world falling apart. Just enjoy it, man. Of course, it's not my decision to tell you what to do. It's your life. But I just think it's funny. That's just me. So, I mentioned earlier in the show that I was going to talk AEW. I will get to the Wrestledream pay-per-view later on. But I wanted to give some honest-to-God opinions of the seesaw that is AEW. It's like TNA to me. You have promise. You have a lot of promise. You have a lot of upside for you. The talent, it's great. Jamie Hayter, Dr. Britt Baker, Toni Storm, Mariah May, the current AEW Women's Champion. Say what you want about her. The women's talent could use some work. Thunder Rosa, she's awesome. Julia Hart. There's another one. Willow Nightingale. She needs some work, but, Long Island's own Willow Nightingale, she's great. Chris Statlander, she's awesome. Love him. In the men's department, my thoughts on Long Island's own MJF. Chris Jericho. Or as I like to call, Chris Jericho go away. The Young Bucks, my thoughts on them. Jesus, just go away. Aside, if the Young Bucks, Chris Jericho, Jungle Jack off Jack Perry, and to a certain degree Jon Moxley were not all up in my face all the time when I watched this program, specifically the Bucks and Jericho and Jungle Jack off, I think everything will be fine. They have really good talent. Adam Page, Adam Cole, who just came back. Darby Allin, I think, is a great talent. He has championship material. He really does. And then there's some other talent that makes you want to punch the TV square in the face. With no gloves. Just bare-fisted. Bare-fisted. I don't know if that deserves the Old Spice whistle. There we go. Much better. Again, there's a lot of upside here. They just got the TV deal. That's fucking great. They just got a brand new TV deal with Warner Brothers. Now, depending on how you view Warner Brothers and their also seesawing few years, then this may or may not be a good deal. But Malachi Black, there's another one. He should be in the title pictures all the time. Will Ospreay, Takeshita, or as Jim Cornette says, take a shit. The new Ricochet. They have talent. I'm only going to focus on the good and not just the bad like I usually do. Aside from the constant gymnastics, the botching and stuff like that, it's just they have talent. They really do. And they have a lot of potential. There's a few things that they can do that will help them that will help AEW in the long term. I've said this before, and several people have said it before as well. AEW should go the TNA route, where they have 3,000 seats in a 3,000 seat arena, one show a week, get as much of the cut down on the talent that you have, cut down on the championships, or 1 to 2 shows, Ring of Honor and Dynamite. That's it. That's it. Limit the workload. Limit the workload. And limit the bullshit. You have a bunch of guys in that locker room that are more than capable producers, more than capable bookers, agents, promoters, etc. Jeff Jarrett, there's one. Jeff Jarrett ran TNA for years. Chris Jericho, I'm sure can be a booker or a producer one of these days. Edge, Adam Copeland, he can absolutely do it. Bryan Danielson, he can be a creative guy. You know, you have a lot of guys that you can go to and say, yeah, Jay Lethal, there's another one. But every now and then it seems to me that they can't help themselves but punch themselves square in the dick. And you want to root for them. You do. And Tony's booking is not particularly great. You know, I'm not a booker. I don't book these shows. Would I like to book a wrestling show? No, because I'm sure that's incredibly difficult. And I'm sure that Tony's trying. But there comes a point where you need to go and say, yeah, you're trying too hard, or you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And that's what this seems like to me with AEW. But at the same point, you have a lot of potential. If they're not the number 2 wrestling show in the world right now, they're not. They're third at best. Behind, you can make a very good argument for TNA now, especially with the partnership with NXT. And of course, the WWE. That's number 1. And you gotta stop looking as like, oh, it's a competition. Like, oh, WWE does this all the time. Why can't AEW do this? Because you can't compare apples to oranges here. You just gotta be you. Stop trying to make this into a competition, into a dick measuring contest, and just make it, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it our way. TNA has been known for doing this for 20-something years. Don't believe me? Look at the entire X division over 20 years. That was unique. The 6-sided ring? Do we need to go down that rabbit hole? You have potential. Fucking use it. So, Wrestledream was this past weekend, and, sure. Upside? Kind of. Jay White, I'm just going to run through the results, and I'm going to be clear. I didn't see the pay-per-view because, you know, I wasn't going to spend $50 for a pay-per-view while I was on fucking vacation. Just, be real. So, Jay White beats Hangman Adam Page in the opener. Jay's too good for this company. He flat out is. Will Nightingale and Mariah May for the AEW Women's title. Mariah May wins, and Willow needs some more work, but there is still promise for her. Jack Perry and Shibata for the TNT title. Why the hell is Jack Perry still here? I don't know, because... Good lord. Fuck, what else? Daniel Garcia returned also to interfere with the match. And MJF returned. He's kind of lost me. And, Adam Toothpick Cole returns as a babyface now because that's confusion. Oh, WWE does this all the time. Why can't AEW do it? Shut up. Shut up. You know, just... Adam Cole looks like the kid in high school that smokes too much meth.
Smoke weed every day.
Smoke some weed, man. You know? Why is Adam Cole the babyface now? Wasn't he just a heel a number of months ago? I'm confused. Ricochet and Takeshita versus Will Ospreay for the AEW International title. Might as well be watching a gymnastics performance. Takeshita won, by the way. So, there's that. The Beast Mortos versus Hologram in a more flips match. I didn't particularly care for this one. Swerve Strickland returns with Prince Nana and confronts MVP with Shelton Benjamin. And for some fucking reason, no Bobby Lashley debut. Why? Just fucking why? I know I mentioned in the previous segment that wasn't going to trash AEW, but this is one of those things where you just go, why? Darby Allin and Brody King. Darby wins and put on a selling clinic. This was a great match. This was a great match. It really was. The Young Cucks versus Private Party for the AEW Tag Team titles. Guess who won? Chris Jericho away versus Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor World title. I am shocked Jarrett Hogan lost. And Bryan Danielson forced to retire as Jon Moxley wins his 4th AEW World title via KO. Hold on. Give me a second. Jon Moxley won his 4th AEW World Championship at Wrestledream over the weekend. If you wanted to make him the dickhead heel champion, then you did a good job. If you wanted to make him be the hated heel who retired Bryan Danielson and make him the most heated man as a heel, then you did a good job. A lot of those two things that I said are very unpopular amongst the wrestling community. So, why'd you have Moxley win the belt over Danielson? I mean, first of all, why'd you have Danielson win the belt in the first place? If he was just going to drop it a month and a half later. I don't know. That bothers me a little bit. But this is the 4th time Danielson, Jesus. The 4th time Moxley won the belt. And he won it by making Danielson go to sleep. And it's just, I don't know. The more and more I think about it, the more and more it reminds me of The Undertaker and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 33, which was a no-holds-barred match for the main event of WrestleMania. And if you wanted to make Roman Reigns the dickhead heel, that was the perfect time to do it, and they didn't do it. If you want to make Moxley the dickhead hated heel, again, you did a good job by doing it. It's just one of those logic things that makes me go, so why'd you have Danielson win the belt then? But now I understand. You know, it's one of those like, oh, that makes sense now. It's been a few days since the pay-per-view. And again, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I go, oh, this kind of makes sense. But sure, why not? Plumber Moxley wins his 4th AEW World title because fuck everything, I guess. But at the same point, it's AEW, so you really can't expect anything less than just, okay, let's roll with it. It's basically like you're throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. And in this case, it's flubber. That's a great reference for those who understand that. Shout out Robin Williams, by the way. You know, it's one of those. Also, Jon Moxley looks like every mechanic ever in like Alabama or some shit. That's a pretty belt too. I'm looking at that championship belt. It's pretty. Chaos. We love these things. Couple more topics before I close up shop for the day. It is currently 6 in the morning on a Thursday. The temperature's nice and cool here in New York, and the Seahawks have lost 3 in a row. Yeah. I am conflicted for multiple reasons. One, yes, I did think that this team was going to do really well in preseason predictions, no bias completely aside. And I also thought that the defense would be a lot better than where they are. They can't stop the run to save their life. They also can't run the ball to save their life. They had San Francisco right where they wanted them, and if it wasn't for 2 boneheaded interceptions by Geno, that game is probably closer than we think. I don't think they still win, but I think it's closer than we realize. They also rushed for 52 yards against the Niners. That's not good enough. And Geno also threw more than 50 passes against San Francisco. That's also not good. Your quarterback should not be throwing for 52 passes. For over 50 passes. That just can't happen. You also shouldn't be running for just 52 yards. That also can't happen. The Seahawks also traded for Jaguars defensive lineman Roy Robertson Harris over the weekend. So I don't know how much that helps. Jag fans, help me out. But where do I stand currently with the Hawks? I am in a conflicted state, as I mentioned earlier. Because part of me thinks that this team's either going to be, okay, this is the rebuilding stage. They realistically cannot do anything until the 2 safety contracts of Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs are off the books. They realistically cannot do anything. Now, they can, sort of, if they, work some cap magic. They could pull a trade here and there. I hear Cleveland's having a fire sale. Trade for Wyatt Teller. Or call Carolina and say, hey, how much for Clowney? Reunite with Jadeveon Clowney for his 1 sole season in Seattle. Also a former Mike McDonald player, too, with the Ravens last year. I don't know, guys. Lot of conflicting thoughts here. Part of me is like, oh, this is a retool year or an evaluation year. If they make the playoffs, great. If they don't, okay, that's still fine. My expectations are, at this point, are at a median to a minimum. Do I still think they can make the playoffs? Probably. It's a sole possibility. That offensive line's got to get better, though. No questions asked. That offensive line has got to get better. And the Seahawks currently have, $10 million in cap space to work with? So, realistically, they have a very good chance to go and say, hey, let's go and, trade for a top-tier guard or a top-tier offensive lineman. And let's go fucking get some help, for God's sakes. Because Anthony Bradford, good God, what happened to you, man? You can't block anyone. Christian Haynes has been, the offensive line, with the exception of Charles Cross and Connor Williams, has been dog shit. It just has. It's been flat-out dog shit. So, I don't know what they got to do to improve this team quickly, but from what we've seen in the trade market the last few days, first Devontae Adams, then Amari Cooper, then Cam Akers being traded in a span of hours, anything could happen. Anything could fucking happen at this point. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. My confidence level is still, it's still okay at best. But, we knew this was coming eventually, an evaluation year, but we'll see. Hawks fans, keep your optimism up. That's what I say. I will end today's show by saying this. There is a lot of people out there who may be listening, that may know me in person, that will question their livelihood or question their purpose. Let's call it that. Bro Yoda's making a return here. And I'm not the kind of person that like say, hey, this is what you should do for your life. This is your life is dictated by your decisions. One of the biggest, flaws of social media, of the social media era that we live in, is we let other people's opinions dictate our livelihood. It really is that damn phone. Mama was right the whole time. But you can't let someone else's opinions dictate your life. That's like saying, I'm going to go buy a car. All right? Nice car, decent car, probably an Acura or some shit. And, because, or a Lexus, depending on, your taste, or a Buick. Again, your taste. And I go to the hobo on the side of the street, hey, should I buy this car? He's going to say, no, give the car to me. It's kind of ass backwards when you think about it. So, what's some advice that I could give on how to help yourself grow into a better person? Just ignore everyone. Ignore everyone and listen to you. This is where the whole, hey, trust your gut mentality comes into play here. Because in reality speaking, there's no better person to listen to than yourself. And you really shouldn't let anyone else's opinion dictate your life. That's a dangerous game to play. Of course, who am I to say? I'm not the kind of person to just waltz out there and say, hey, you should listen to me. Like, fuck that. No. That's not how I roll, ladies and gentlemen. That's not how I roll. Of course, some of you may listen to me ramble and stuff like that, but that's okay. I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing because I love doing it. I'm not going to let... I've said this before and I will say it again. If I wanted to do this podcast for money, I would have quit years ago. Just simple as that. Because that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the simple factor of, hey, I love just rambling and shit. I love the radio business. And I want to be able to just voice my thoughts on certain things. So, that's it. If I wanted to let other people's opinion, I knew getting into this job that people were going to judge me based off of my opinions. And at the same point, it's like, I don't care. I'm still going to do what I want to do. Guess that's the whole point of this ramble, is to tell you, it's like, fuck everyone, man. Fuck people. People suck. They really do. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Staniel Smooth Show. My name is Staniel Smooth. I'm coming in from the lovely beaches of Long Island, New York, part of the Belly Sports and Belly Media Network. And I will see you all in this life, and most certainly the next one. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your week.